What's up guys, Simply Coco here and welcome back to my channel. So today we're doing a build challenge. This is the Thin House Challenge by Jamesturner, formerly known as thesimsupply. So what you do is you download this lot off the gallery and then you have to build a thin house in between them. And so that's what we're doing. Real quick, don't forget to like and subscribe as always, and I will always respond to your comments. So yeah, let's get into the build. So yeah, that's really the only rule, is to build a house in between these other two houses. And the added like bonus challenge is to make it a tiny home. So what he did is he got rid of the flooring in the other two houses. That way the only tiles the game is counting are the tiles that you are putting down. So yeah, that's the added bonus, is to make it a tiny home. But as you can see, I'm doing the exterior. It changes quite a bit. I try to leave it as it is, but then once I get inside, I realize I don't have room for staircases or bathrooms. So then the upper balcony, the second floor balcony, has to go. It doesn't go completely. It turns into a 3-tile balcony instead of this 3x3 balcony. But other than that, everything else is the same. The bottom little porch area stays the same. And I really enjoy the exterior. I would have enjoyed it a little better as far as aesthetics if it was a little bit wider, but I mean, that wasn't the challenge. I've actually really enjoyed this build. I had a lot of fun doing it, so I would encourage you to try it. Doing challenges is always a good way to expand your building horizons, because I know a lot of us builders, sometimes we might, have builder's block, or we just find ourselves doing the same things all the time. So doing build challenges really helps with that, along with also like watching other YouTubers and just taking ideas from them. But yeah, as you can see, I placed those like patio chairs. They both are functional. Your Sims can sit there. They just can't use the table and sit there. So the table is more so just for decoration, because I don't like putting, like when I do outside seating areas, like small ones like this, I don't like to put the chairs up against the table because it just looks too perfect. I like things to look a little bit more lived in. So I catty cornered them like that to make it seem like, they were sitting there at one point, but they can sit in the chairs. They just can't use the table while sitting in them. And then I used these ferns I used 2 of them. They're from Jungle Adventure. I used them to make like a hanging plant. There's nothing that's signifying that it's hanging. Like there's no fake string or anything that's signifying that it's hanging there. So it's literally just floating. But I mean, when you're playing The Sims, you're always looking from the top anyway. And so, I mean, it kind of doesn't matter. It's The Sims. The only thing that changes about this porch area is the little plant that I just put next to the chair closer to the door. So like the plant that's in the watering can, that plant I do end up having to delete because they couldn't sit in the chair because of that particular plant. Then I just used this rug from Realm of Magic to make it as like the what is it called? Like the doormat. And then I was looking at a reference photo of a kitchen on Pinterest, and it was like this really pretty green backsplash kitchen with black and white appliances, and I just had to use it. So right now I'm working on the kitchen because I was watching Deligracy do her version of this challenge. And she put the kitchen downstairs, and her reasoning behind it was because, if you came home with groceries, or if you came home with, laundry or something, you'd have to go all the way upstairs like in my case, I end up putting the kitchen on the second floor. So you're going to have to go all the way to the second floor to bring in your groceries. And then their bedroom is on the third floor. And there's no laundry in the house. So they'd have to bring their laundry all the way downstairs to take it to the laundromat. Then go all the way back upstairs to put the laundry away. But I really wanted the kitchen to be bigger. So I ended up putting it on the second floor instead. That's what I'm about to start doing now. And then I finished the entire kitchen, and then I realized that I don't have any stairs to the next level of the house. So that's when I didn't want to change the kitchen. So then that's when that balcony kind of has to go. You won't see it yet, but it's going to happen here in a second. I put a siding as the backsplash, and it looks weird, but I was looking at this reference photo, and it was this really like deep teal, deep turquoise green. This is it right here, and this is the only paint, wallpaper, siding, wood, tile. This is the only wall thing in the game that was the same color. There was a few tiles that had the same color, but it was light. The one in the picture I was looking at, it was very dark. It was very rich. It was very like glossy. So this was the closest thing I could find. Obviously, it looks funny because it's siding and it's supposed to go on the exterior, but I just kind of imagined that maybe it's intentionally made to look like siding, and it's just like glossed over, and it's really shiny and pretty and stuff. As you can see, it took me a very long time to find a window. For you, that was only a few seconds, but for me, that was several minutes. I do end up going with that one. It had this like, the photo I was looking at had this like white, black, this green, and then a very warm wood tone color to it. So that's why I went with that color window, but from the outside, it doesn't look right. So like closer to the end of the video, I do make it a black window just to match everything that's outside. And I just want to go ahead and apologize that for it being so bouncy and sporadic and spinny and all that. Hopefully you don't get sick. The two buildings next to the house were really messing with the camera. Anytime I was working on a certain position on a wall, the camera would just flip out because of the other two homes, because the other two homes were taller. So the camera wanted to jump up to those homes. And then something happened along the way, because I think at this point I have 4 stories in this home, or is it just 3? I'm not sure. I'll see it in a minute. But at some point something happened, and my tiles got all messed up, and it was saying I had 116 tiles, and I don't know. Deligracy, she did 4 stories and got 100 tiles exactly. I did 3 stories and mine ends up being 86 tiles. So I don't know where I messed up tile wise. But yeah, as you can see, I did make the balcony smaller, and I really wanted to use that picnic table or the bench. It's more, I would say more of so it's a bench because the seats are cushioned. But I really wanted to use that table since I couldn't put it outside, I put it in the kitchen underneath the stairs, and I made it. I didn't make it. It's meant to be like their breakfast, like their little breakfast nook. And I end up just placing a flower on it a little bit later when I go back and clutter the kitchen. Because as I've said in like my recent videos, what I have started to do is I'll go through and just furnish each room completely, and then I will go back and clutter them. That way it's easier on me, and I'm not so stressed to finish one room at a time. And then 2, it gives you 2 opportunities to see the room, since speed builds do kind of go really fast. I've never used this couch before. It's from university. I think it really worked in this space. And then also I really utilize the side tables from bowling night because they're the smallest. They're probably the smallest ones in the game. And I use them down here and then one in the bedroom. Speaking of the bedroom though, so obviously this isn't a family home or anything. So I imagine this being kind of like a bachelor pad, which kind of works out because I had planned on doing a bachelor pad within the next few days. It was going to be a loft, but I might just make this my bachelor pad build. We'll see. I might still do it, but I imagine this being for 2 male Sims, actually, not just one. So what I imagine is they went to Foxbury together and they were roommates there and they became really close and they practically consider each other brothers. And so they were, when they got ready to move, or when they got ready to graduate, both of them got accepted into, got jobs in Windenburg, and now that's where they found this kind of skinny home, and they found this thin home and they decided to move in together. So obviously I'm working on their bedroom now, or that's the room I'm in right now is their bedroom. And obviously 2 double beds can't fit in there. I even tried to see if I could make it work, but it just wasn't going to. So they do end up having 2 single beds in there. And I would just imagine, like, if they were to have girls over or something like that, they would have like this unspoken rule to not come in the room because, you know, stuff is happening, or, you know, go sleep on the couch or go sleep at a friend's house, something. They would just probably have this unspoken rule of like, okay, my girl is here, like, you know what to do, you know. Once I get into furnishing their room, I'll get into their personalities, but I'll just say right now, one of the guys does have a girlfriend, and I gave him a girlfriend because I used the kind of clothes rack that came with, I think Get Famous or City Living, and it has girl clothing on it as well. And to kind of just make that work, I just decided to make that guy have a girlfriend, and she sleeps over a lot maybe. And just whenever they want to, you know, do the other roommate has to leave. But she probably spends the night a lot. I wouldn't say she lives here because she can't actually sleep here because it's a single bed. But she probably spends the night a lot. But as you can see, now I'm cluttering up the kitchen. I recently got backyard stuff, and that's where that lemon clutter comes from. And I absolutely love it, obsessed with it. We'll probably use it in every single build from now on. It was really hard. Sorry for that pause. It was really hard to decide what to put on these shelves. And the shelves in The Sims 4 need some work. Nothing clips to them. Only certain items do. Items that you would think would never do. Again, this part is really jumpy because this is the main part that I was doing when it was jumpy like that. For some reason, when I was on this wall, it kept wanting to jump up to the building behind this. Like, it kept wanting to jump up to that height, and it literally drove me so crazy. I think I cursed out the game several times. But I don't really know what style you'd call this. It's kind of modern, but then again, not really, because like you have the iron staircase rails, you have the iron balconies, you have those countertops that I use were like more traditional counters, with like a granite, with kind of like a granite splash. I don't know what you call that. Countertop. I really loved how this looked, putting the bike out there on the balcony, but they can't even walk out to the balcony with that there. So I end up moving the bike downstairs, and then that seat does become usable. The chair that I put out there. What was I saying before that? Oh yeah, it's kind of got a modern feel, but in a very like New York loft kind of way. I don't know. I guess New York lofts would be modern. I guess some of them would, but like I imagine like It's obviously not a loft because there's no like mezzanine level, but you know how like in New York, there's those like skinny apartments that are stuck in between two businesses and you got to walk in the door and go up. Like, that's kind of the vibe that I get from this, that it's like just this thin New York home that's stuck in between a flower shop and a and a I don't even know a dance studio, something. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe I get. I don't know what style you would call that, but yeah, now I'm cluttering up their rooms, so I'll start talking about their personality. So the side of the room I'm on now, I imagine this being they're both guys, but I imagine the one with the camo bed, I imagine him being a black sim, so a black guy, and he's the one with the girlfriend. And I imagine he went to school to be a sports journalist. I know I said they went to Foxbury, and for writing, it'd probably make more sense to go to Brightchester. But I assumed like this guy played football too, and that's why he went to Foxbury, because I would assume Foxbury's sports were better, maybe, and that's why he went to Foxbury instead. And then his roommate, I assume, is an Indian sim, an Indian guy, not Native American Indian, but Asian Indian, like from India Indian. And I imagine he is an engineer who works for, no, not an engineer. I imagine he's a programmer that works for Apple. So obviously there's no Apple in The Sims, but we can pretend. So I imagine he's a programmer that works for Apple, and he's also into music. So that's why he has CDs on his end table. That's why there's a guitar outside. Yeah. And then I put some like newspaper articles above the black guy's bed, and I assume that would be like his articles that he wrote, or that he was featured in, or something like that. And then I found that poster with the soccer ball that's signed by players, I guess. And so maybe he went to a soccer game and got that, or he went and reported at a soccer event and then they gave him that, and the teammates and the team signed it, or something along those lines. But that's the two personalities of the guys that live here. They're both straight. I would assume the Indian guy is single and the other guy just has a girlfriend. So it still kind of works as a bachelor pad. Now I'm just working on their bathroom. This is not the only bathroom in the home, so they don't have to, if they're downstairs watching TV in the living room, they don't have to walk all the way up here. They don't have to walk up three flights of stairs to go to the bathroom. I put a closet next to the entrance, the front door. Excuse me, and I turned that closet into a half bath. So half baths that I've experienced have always had just a sink and a toilet, so that's what's in there. I do have to size down the sink one to get it to fit. And if she used it, I mean, the animation was still fine and everything. I say she because it was my tester sim. She was just 2 times bigger than the sink, but it did work. But yeah, I encourage everyone to try this challenge. Here's a screenshot of my product in between the two builds. Let me know what you guys think, if I nailed it or did it right. The screenshots are definitely rolling, so I will see you all in the next one. Bye!